Well, good evening, good afternoon. It's Holden and Stevie, AP, JT, DC. Very interesting. All you guys have just 2-letter names except for Stevie and me. So that's what we got going on. Anybody else that run pure that wants to hop on the show, by all means, let's do it. We only have 5 guys today. Was hoping we'd get 7. So Mangone, K. Felique, JQ, Big T, if you're around. Hell, even Bobby Gomes. You can hop on too if you want to. We don't give a damn. JT's down there in the corner smirking. Hello, JT. What's going on with you?
What's going on, Holden? We're currently testing the copyright infringement laws with Five Guys, the burger chain. That's what we're doing here on this Friday night. So, but it's a great slate, as you know, as we were just talking about. We're very excited. You look almost healthy again, so it's good. You've got one foot out of the casket. Maybe it's good to see you.
Yeah, got a big date coming up on Monday. I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably sleep all weekend getting ready for it.
Don't lie to us, Holden. Don't lie. You were doing good.
AP's here. What's up, boss? How are you today? What's going on? Talk to me.
Doing good, guys. What's going on, Holden?
That's it. That's all you got to say. Yeah. I mean, JT came up with something witty. Do you have nothing?
I have nothing to say. My golfer shit the bed. It's just a tough week in the PGA streets. I'm ready to smash some baseball.
Stevie Boynton, we weren't going to wait for you to come back. You got back soon enough, though. What were you doing?
I was grabbing a beer.
Let's see your beers, boys. Let's see some beer.
4:30 Central.
We got any liquor? All right, AP's got something. You got something, Stevie. JT. JT's got a Coors. DC.
I got a couple of White Claws in here.
A couple.
Right, I like it. Two White Claws.
Beer, whatever the hell Stevie had. And then what do you got in there, AP? Liquor? You got
White Claw. I'm there with DC.
You're White Clawing it up. You know what was weird? I went shoe shopping today. Vans are back in. JT, you're the only one old enough to remember when Vans were in. I mean, they were big back in middle school, and they're back now. The kids love them. Good conversation. DC, how was your day off yesterday?
It was good. Well, not really. I was kind of sick, but other than that, it was okay. I'm back and good to go, and hopefully talking more baseball than shoe Vans, but we'll see.
No, I'd rather talk about being a pussy and missing a show because of a little baby shot. I think my 3-year-old would have shown up to work yesterday. What happened, DC? I need the explanation here. What were the symptoms that forced you not to show up in a show when your coworker works every day with it?
The truth is I felt fine, but 8:30 in the morning, an hour and a half with Holden was just too much. So I faked sick, called in sick and played hooky.
So you have to tell the truth, and that's what the truth is. You weren't being a pussy. You were actually sick of working with me.
To be fair to DC, I skipped the show too.
It's good to hear. Were you even on it though? You weren't on that show.
It was yesterday. You don't remember? No. It was
together yesterday. Serious question.
No, I was not on the show yesterday.
I mean, you could have convinced me that we did, but that was about it. It is a little disappointing. It's too early for AP to break the whiskey out. Is it really, AP? Like, don't you have some good whiskey you can just tear up?
I mean,
some whiskey.
No, when I go down the whiskey train, I can't drink anything else. So it's definitely too early. You got to prime with beer, seltzers. You got to take it easy. You bring out the whiskey once it's feeling good, and then you're good to go.
You got to at least get to lineup block before you break out the whiskey.
All right, I think we got like 15 games today, maybe 17, maybe 20 games. There's a whole bunch of games. Normally, we'd spend 30 minutes dicking around, but we don't have 30 minutes today with a 5-man booth. I mean, this is amazing. Hit the like button. That'd be nice. And yes, Peter Porker, working with me causes these guys to drink. It's a sad fact, but it's one that I've had to deal with. And there you go, G. How about everybody takes a collective drink just to get this show? Come on, drink up, boys. Let's go.
Everybody else.
He's got his. DC, he's got his. We're all set. We're ready to go today. Do we have any weather concerns, boys? Have you guys looked at the weather? Have you stepped outside and looked at any weather today?
I think we got 3 spots with weather: the Pittsburgh game, the Philly game, and the Nats game.
Yeah.
Which sucks because all 3 I think are great spots for different reasons on the slate. But right now, I think that all three are probably fine. More confident in the DC and the Philly game, I think, personally, right now. But still have an hour and a half to lock.
So it's only one of the games that you're worried about.
For now, yeah. But with these summer storms in DC, Holden, they could pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah, it could be nasty, and it can last a couple hours too.
I'm showing.
What?
We lose someone? That always throws me off. All right, I'm showing an orange yellow and a yellow orange. To me, that means we're probably good to go tonight. So I'm not going to worry too much about weather, unless I'm looking at the pitchers in those games.
Unless you're looking at the pitchers in the games.
Okay, I think that's the right approach. I'm approaching all three of these if they're going to play, building lineups accordingly, and then having a plan, right, to pivot off of them if the weather does look like it's going to get worse. But an hour and a half before lock, I think the proper approach is to make your lineups and make your strategy like these games are going to play. Because I do think all three of them will eventually get in.
But no issue. Were you not going to roster pitchers from here anyways? DC?
No, I mean, I like both pitchers in the Atlanta-Washington game, Morton and Josiah Gray. So, again, we'll have to monitor that closely. I really like the Brewers' offense against Mitch Keller in Pittsburgh, which I do think is the riskiest game of the three. And, yeah, I mean, I'm not in Zach Wheeler here, but I'm sure some people are. He's been incredible this whole season. So, yeah, I mean, three very relevant games, right, with weather. Yeah. So we'll have to monitor it, but I think they will play.
We got some good hitting weather in New York with the Dodgers and the Mets tonight. Going to be around 90 degrees. You'll have a nice 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to left. And outside of that, like A++ hitting weather, I kind of feel like that Nats game, sure. If there is a storm that moves in, maybe it cools off a little bit. But I think the Mid-Atlantic today, Washington, warm, wind blowing out. Philadelphia, warm, wind blowing out. Same thing with the other game I was talking about, up to almost 90 degrees in New York. And then in Boston, we'll have some decent weather too at 85 degrees. So let's hop into the slate, though. We got 5 guys on the show. You're going to get more information than you're ever going to want. AP, let's start with you here on the pitching. What is today's pool? And start with your number 1 overall arm, whether it be DK or FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always DraftKings. Number 1 arm. I'm still trying to decide that right now. There's a lot of good arms, and I think part of my problem personally is which bats I want to get into my lineup will help to dictate which pitchers I'm going to. You can pay up, you can spin down. I think there's just a ton of options tonight, so I'm really curious to see what these guys are on. I mean, I don't want to sound like a homer either, but I have a lot of interest in Mike Minor tonight. I think he's underpriced. I don't mind the matchup, big ballpark, and he's been pitching pretty well. Robbie Ray in a later game, I think, is another guy that I'm looking at as kind of one of my spin-up options. And then, in tournaments, Blake Snell, he just smashed this matchup. Again, he's kind of a wild card and definitely more of a tournament play, but we saw the Diamondbacks smash last night. They get a lefty tonight. They haven't been hitting lefties as good, so I do think it's an interesting matchup.
Where the hell did JT go? Did he just disappear?
Yeah, his computer shut down is what he said.
Okay, so he'll be back. We'll have a little bang bang today. Love me some bang bang. Stevie Boyden, let's talk here. Do you play FanDuel?
I am playing FanDuel tonight, yes.
Can you be the FanDuel guy today? Can you do that? I was talking to Tony yesterday. We need to do a better job of getting FanDuel to everybody. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Most of us just play DK, but let's get some FanDuel in here. Let's do it.
Yeah, so kind of piggybacking off of what AP was saying, I really like Ray. I have a bunch of interest in Charlie Morton in the DC game. That Nats lineup is just really bad right now. They did get Soto back. I just trust him to have a safe game, and he's only 9K over on FanDuel. I think he's the safest option on FanDuel for sure. And I think he's good on both sides. That's why I'm really hoping that game is fine for weather, because I have interest in him. And we'll talk about bats later. I'm on the other side of DC on the bats there, but the other guy I have a ton of interest tonight, more so on DK, but on both sides is McClanahan from the Rays. Twins lineup doesn't really scare me too much. They've been striking out more. McClanahan has a really high K upside here, I think. I think he's underpriced a bit. And I think that he is my preferred SP2 today. I think there are a bunch of good SP2 options, but I think he'll be at the top of my list.
All right, DC. I know you got cores for both. Let's do it. FanDuel side, DK side, number one pitcher on each site.
Yeah, more focused on DraftKings today. Personally, I'm with Steve on Charlie Morton. I've been on him all year, and I think Steve has too. And he's been good. He started off a little bit rough, but you look at the last 10, 15 games, it's every day this guy's putting up, 15, 20, 25 plus fantasy points, extremely consistent. And this Nationals lineup, outside of Juan Soto, not a lot there. So I think Charlie Morton's going to give you probably 6 or 7 strong innings. I think he's got a good shot at going over that strikeout prop. It's right now over 6.5 minus 120. I think he will go over that number. So he's really interesting. Robbie Ray, I'm into against Seattle. Hasn't been quite as dominant recently as we saw at the beginning of the season, but I do think it will return for Robbie Ray. I still have a lot of confidence in him. Other guys I'm looking at, Julio Urias for the Dodgers. This Mets lineup, it's a match to target. I know the Mets have a good record, but the offense is just anemic, kind of, So I do think that Urias has a good shot. Josiah Gray, a guy that I've liked a ton coming up for Dodgers, and he got traded to the Nationals, right, in the Trey Turner and Max Scherzer deal. Just faced the Braves and crushed them last time. This guy has legit strikeout upside. His swinging strike rate, if he qualified for the whole season, he would rank 3rd or 4th in the entire league behind Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw, or Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer. So I like him. And then I will say, I kind of overlooked this a little bit, but Blake Snell, I was looking him up a little bit after AP mentioned him. He made a big change in his last start in terms of his pitch selection. So his best pitch this year has been the slider. He's thrown it 22% of the time overall in the year. In his last start against Arizona, he completely ditched his changeup and curveball, which have not worked for him this year. He threw exactly 1 changeup and 2 curveballs in that entire start. He threw 49% sliders, by far the highest mark that he's thrown all year. His previous high mark was 34%, and usually he's around 22%, and he crushed. So it's really interesting to me. I don't even have Blake Snell in the playbook right now, but I'm going to add him because that looks like that could be a huge change for Blake Snell, who's been really, really disappointing this year, but that was his best start of the year, and we know the talent's there. He won the Cy Young, was that 2 years ago, I think? So
yeah,
that's interesting. Steve, did you notice that? I know you're a guy that kind of digs into some of those numbers too.
I actually just put it in the YouTube chat because someone asked me if I had any interest in it. I said, yeah, I was actually going to bring up that same thing. I saw that he threw a bunch of sliders.
It's a really big change. It's a huge change.
It's a huge change, especially this late in the season, and that it works so well. You have to think that he at least tries to go back to it here.
It looks like he was basically using his fastball to get ahead of hitters and then throwing a ton of sliders, right? Which is his best swing and miss pitch this year. So it's certainly interesting.
Yeah, I like it.
So and I kind of know what your thought is on this then, DC, because going back to pitchers after a team has just seen them doesn't seem like it concerns you whatsoever, because he did, what do you have, 10 strikeouts against Atlanta in that start?
Yeah, all the underlying numbers back it up too. Ton of whiffs. It was legit. So
yeah, and I get that. So I wonder about
jumping on this train, to be honest.
Yeah, you're not worried about it. So AP, talk to me about Gray in particular, and I wonder what your just overall philosophy is. Young pitchers, offense hadn't seen them, comes back and faces him 5 days later. Anything there that pushes you off the player, or not a big deal?
I believe what was pushing me off of Josiah Gray was his price, and then the possibility of pop-ups in that game, which has given me an edge towards going with Blake Snell. They're right in the same price range. I do like Josiah Gray. I mean, a while back, it wasn't too long ago where I was trolling DC a little bit. We had our boy Cy Heel. I made a little bet with him that he would outscore Gray, 2 different slates, and it happened. But the very next time Josiah Gray got out there, he absolutely smashed. I mean, obviously this kid has great talent. Again, like I don't really like to play certain pitchers that are facing a team that they just faced, which is what Mike Minor is doing as well. And so after hearing what DC and Stevie said about Blake Snell and switching up his pitch type and kind of how he's attacking these hitters, it's leaning me, I'm kind of leaning towards a Robbie Ray and Blake Snell build right now.
I'm playing Blake Snell now. This is the matchup is so good. We know the talent's there, and then we've got a tangible change that led to awesome results, right?
Yeah.
So kind of got all three things
too. It sucks that JT dropped off.
I wasn't on it.
He
honestly,
was not on Snell today.
He'll be back. He's got an older computer, so let's give him about 15 minutes for it to restart,
to reboot it.
Then he's got his AOL dial-up internet, and once we get that going, he'll be back on.
I do like McClanahan a little bit more than Snell. I don't know. I just think he's safer. He's got basically the same strikeout upside. I do like that they've kind of let him go a little longer. DC, like a month ago, we were talking about how much we love the guy, but they were holding him, 70, 75 pitches. They're letting him go a little longer now. I mean, they need this division. So,
I like McClanahan too. He did make my playbook, and I'm a huge fan of him long term.
Yeah.
I don't love this matchup going on the road. I know Minnesota's been disappointing, but if you just look at the individual lineup, and Jorge Blanco has been red hot, right? Hitting as well as anybody in baseball right now. Brent Rooker can mash lefties. You got Donaldson and Garver. Like Miguel Sano starting to come around. This team has hit a little bit better since they kind of traded at the trade deadline. Weirdly, I just don't love the matchup, right? On the road, and I don't know.
Yeah. I guess
I love McClanahan. This doesn't look like a spot for me.
I was looking more at there's a ton of swing and miss in the lineup right now too.
Sure.
So, I think that they're
upside's there, no question.
Yeah. Upside play. I don't think he's going to be that owned on the slate with just a bunch of good pitching options. I think it was last week that we were on here and we were talking about Daniel Lynch and a bunch of shitty pitchers. And tonight, we've got, I think, 6 to 8 guys that you could reasonably make an argument for a main lineup.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, my playbook today has 6 guys listed now, or 7 guys listed now. I could extend it a couple more, right? Like you don't want to list every pitcher on the slate, so I kind of cut it off there. But yeah, it's a really, really strong
90 minutes. List them all, man. We don't care. We got plenty of time. And I'm not kidding.
Sure.
But the only other thing I wanted to bring up here was a question in the chat, or a thing in the chat. He goes, I think it was Butthole. Yeah, wind's pushing out 26 miles an hour in San Francisco. That's nuts. The wind always blows out that hard in San Francisco.
Don't worry about the wind in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
So one weather thing that we didn't bring up earlier, and like you said, we have plenty of time, but it's 87 degrees in Seattle today.
Oh, I know.
Which huge. I mean, I'm big on Toronto today. I think DC is too. I think they're, we'll get the stacks later, but man, it is not almost 90 degrees in Seattle very often. And, the best offensive baseball against righties today.
Do we have confirmation that the roof is open?
No, not yet, but you would imagine it would be open if it's like the nicest day they've had.
Didn't help them yesterday at all.
I would imagine so, but yeah.
Yeah. No, just another point on weather was all.
Holden, could you talk about Male and his DK price? All right, guys, somebody wants to know about Male, so let's talk some Reds here. What do we got? Anything? 7-1 on DK. He said specifically DK. If you want to get him on FanDuel, he's 8-7. Stevie looking like you're chomping at the bit. He's at Philadelphia. Why bother?
I don't know. I've been talking about Molly all day. So, which is why I was interested in the weather there, because I want to use some of him here. He has been a guy with, some of the biggest home road splits in the league this season. His ERA is over 5 at home, I think, and it's 2-ish on the road. It's obviously not the best weather or park there, but I mean this is a 9K pitcher with big time strikeout upside that we're getting at 7K. I don't think he's a main lineup type of guy, just because of the matchup, but man, it's just not the type of guy that we see at 7K. I'm also a big believer in him kind of long term. So yeah, I have interest in Molly, and if the weather looks clear there, I'm definitely going to use some in my 20 lineups. So I do 20 lineups on both sites. Probably have 20% or so of him.
Jay Frey wants you to explain your handedness chart. Will you promise to do that in Discord with him? I mean, we're not going to do that for the.
Yeah, sure.
It's that's a daily question, isn't it? I hear that one often. Like a daily question. That question gets asked all the time.
There's like colors and R's and L's and O's and all sorts of letters. I just don't get it.
Stevie, one thing we're doing this weekend, you and I are going to record a video with the screen share, and we'll go over and explain the hand in the shirt.
Want to cut a 5-minute video?
Go watch it, right? We can knock that thing out.
That's actually a good idea.
All right, so I pulled up those Molly home road splits. So home, 58 innings, 61 hits, 5.74 ERA, 1.41 WHIP. Road, 65 innings, 45 hits, 2.06 ERA, 1.05 WHIP. It's what sucks is that he's pitching in Philly, which is kind of the same ballpark as Great American. But I'm just going to take the discount and bet on the strikeout upside.
NYG fan in our premium chat. I know it's not optimal going after top pitchers, but it's not as though the Reds are going to be pushovers against Wheeler. Any interested in the Reds bats? We'll get into bats here in a couple of minutes, but you want to just give them a little teaser trailer here. Any interest in Reds bats tonight against Wheeler?
I actually have quite a bit of interest in the Reds bats as a deep contrarian play, right? You're going to get these guys against Wheeler. I would assume their entire lineup, all of them will be under 5% owned. Some of them even lower than that. Red hot team, good hitting environment, certainly in Philly, hot, humid. And, Wheeler, he's going to challenge guys like Winker and Votto and Moustakas with fastballs, right? I know Wheeler's been really good, but these guys are going to get their cuts in against Zach Wheeler. And if he's not on his game here, like he's not locating, they could smash him for sure. I mean, John India, has anybody been hotter than him? Castellanos back hitting third, that 1 through 5, right? I mean, India, Winker, Castellanos, Votto, Moustakas, ton of upside, even against Zach Wheeler. So, if I maybe wouldn't do it on a main team, but if you've got multiple teams, you want to take a shot on it, yeah, I don't mind it at all.
Okay. So JT's just done. AP, is that it? JT's off the show today?
I mean, he said his computer has some updates that it's going through. Sounds like an excuse to me, but maybe we'll see him in a little bit.
Maybe.
He couldn't take all the Blake Snell and
shot or what?
Yeah, I was just thinking that he couldn't take all the Charlie Morton and Blake Snell love. DC.
No, that could be. Yeah, maybe that contributed to a computer meltdown.
All right, so here we go. We got a lot coming up here with RPS as the NFL season approaches. Obviously, you're still going to get our great content with baseball and MMA, UFC, whatever you want to do. Anything else. Preseason football, I already loaded up my lineups tonight. I'm super excited about that. AP, tell us, what do we got coming up for NFL season, pal? And if you're interested in getting in, get in now, because it's probably the best promo we've run in a long time. It's not just 15% off your first payment, 15% off the lifetime of your subscription, 15% off lifetime RPS NFL 15. What have we got coming up here, AP?
Yeah, we have quite a bit, actually. We're making some enhancements to the content, to the product. Daily shows. We'll have a show pretty much every single day. So many of them are going to be premium only. We're doing just, our normal content, the playbooks and everything. One change that I really like is we're going to have core plays for the main slates like we always do. We're also going to have we're building out a group of guys that are going to be doing core plays for the secondary slates. is what we call them. So like the early only, afternoon only, a lot of those contests are massive. So we want to make sure that we're giving our members the best edge that we can. And we want to make sure we're attacking all the slates where all the money's at. So we're going to have tons and tons of content for NFL.
I love it. I absolutely love that. All right. So RPS NFL 15% off. Yes, Ron Reese. I feel it in my plums. I do. I'm going to take it to market for a 2-for-1 plum special. It's going to be awesome. So here we go. Let's get into the offensive side. We gave you the spiel over there. DC, this is your type of show, dude. We got all the time in the world today. So let's go game by game. And if you think that it's a garbage game, let's just move on. What are your thoughts on, and again, Stevie, you're the FanDuel guy today. What are your thoughts on the Brewers, that offense taking on the Pirates? And is there anything on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, clear awesome spot for the Brewers. They've smashed 2 slates already this week, including the one yesterday. Man, that Adames pickup just massive for them. They're a bit pricey on DraftKings, but they're not too bad on FanDuel here. Definite interest against Mitch Keller, who we like to pick on every time he starts. Lots of fastballs, just dead straight fastballs. Gives up a lot of power. Just concerned with the weather there right now. That would be my only hitch in rostering the Brewers is, are you going to use a team on a 14-game slate that, could rain out? It's not a absolute, must-play spot, although it is a good spot. And then no interest in Pirates. Brett Anderson, just, super ground ball guy, doesn't give up much power. And then definitely no interest in both of the pitchers.
All right.
Hey, Holden.
Yeah.
See if this works. We got an update. He just sent me this. Literally 2 minutes left, and he'll be on.
Oh, he got screwed with the update. That's what the whole thing is. I mean, that how frustrating that is?
Oh,
really, I almost
man.
missed the show because
Come on, JT Hayes.
I'm not going to blame JT Hayes for this one. The update is the worst. Unless does he have a Mac? If he doesn't have a Mac, I don't know what happens on the Windows side, but the Mac is the worst for the updates. Like if you update the thing, your computer goes to shit for months. The worst updates ever. It takes forever. So I'm actually going to give JT a pass. You would like to rip him though, AP. By all means, go ahead.
No, it happens, man. It happens. He'll be on.
Yeah, it sucks. All right, DC. I like the Brewers a little bit. Not sure I'm going to have too much of it. But what about the Brewers? What about the Pirates?
Yeah, I love the Brewers here. Assuming the weather holds, Mitch Keller we're getting a pretty decent sample size at this point. He gets pummeled every time he pitches, pretty much. Can't get any whiffs. Tons of
Sorry, DC. He's back.
You're good.
I've been listening to you. I've been listening to you. You know what's that I'm not going to use because I'm not allowed to use that word on these streams. Slander me for the past 10 minutes. So I've known the update was necessary, and I kept putting it off. Midday, I was like, I'm going to do it, and then it just stopped. And I was like, okay, fine. So I closed it. As soon as we get on, it shuts down, and I'm like, what is this? What is going on? And then I had to run to the bathroom and vomit. You guys are talking about all the pitchers that I hate tonight.
That was the best part.
Oh, my God. I'm kidding. Half kidding about it. Half kidding.
Here's the thing.
It's good to be back. I went outside.
Holden
I went outside, and my wife was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I was like, and she's like, why didn't you take care of this earlier? I was like, you know what? You're right. All right. I'll see you later.
You missed the pitching part, JT.
Well,
so.
Holden was asking AP if he wanted to slander you for your computer shutting down. AP declined. No surprise there. I would have, but I figured I would have plenty of opportunities over the next hour to slander you for actual baseball takes. So I don't need to come over here after you about the computer, right? That's just an honest mistake. Now, some of the pitchers that you are going to recommend now, because we do need your pitching takes, I'll come at you for those, right? Let's stick to the baseball here.
Yeah, I did hear you defending me.
You don't like our pitchers? Who do you like?
It made me excited that you were defending me. It made me excited.
Who did you not like, JT? Who was the worst call that you heard so far?
Well, I don't think anything of them are particularly bad calls. This is what I'll say, and it's really the way that I play. It's the way that I played last night. Before the show, we were talking. I liked the Diamondbacks last night. The Diamondbacks, a couple of guys that were on the IL have gotten healthy now. Carson Kelly is healthy. And I don't like taking pitchers against teams that they just dominated. This game is evolved to the point where they go in, they study. There was also something that I saw yesterday with Yu Darvish, just his record on the road, the way he pitches on the road, much, much different at home, even in places like Miami. Snell, I will say, his only good game on the road did come in Miami, and it looks like, I heard what DC and Steve were saying, and I can't disagree that it looks like he sort of figured out the things that were wrong earlier in the year, because they were really wrong. He was playing poorly against even teams that he should dominate, and he's been better of late. Still have a little bit of concern with the fact that Arizona just saw him, and he is on the road. But I won't argue.
Right? I mean, Snell's risky, no question. Yeah.
Yeah, so I won't argue against him. I won't argue. My only issue with Morton tonight, everyone knows the jokes I've been making about Morton all year long. My only issue with him tonight is the weather. And then because Kyle Muller got beat up last night, I think it's a reason why Snicker would leave him in the game longer. That's been a problem this year, right? He's left Morton in the game way too long to where he's lost his, sharpness on his curveball and other pitches. But at 8,300, definitely in play if I can get past the weather. Josiah Gray, I agree with DC 100% on his long-term talent. Awesome game against the Braves last week. This is a spot I always attack with these rookie pitchers when they have an upside game. He now goes, it's one of the hottest games of the night, going to be close to 90 degrees, wind blowing out in Washington. There is absolutely nothing in that bullpen. This Washington team, feels like they played like 6 games over the last 3 days, a bunch of doubleheaders. I really do like the Braves offense tonight. And then a couple of other guys, I think DC hit on Shane McClanahan. I kind of like him a little better at home. I think that's what DC was saying, that maybe he wasn't going to make his player pool. He might make mine tonight just because of his price. And I talked on the Bang Bang Plays video about my favorite guy, who's Robbie Ray. I think this Seattle team has some talent, has some power, but they have a lot of swing and miss. And Ray is not a guy that I worry about in the heat like I would some of these other guys. Spent most of his career in Arizona. Earlier in the season, pitched some great games in Dunedin when they were down there. And I think he's got a chance against the lineup with a 25% strikeout rate to do some damage here. I also think, like these guys were saying, I think the Jays are going to go under the radar here in a spot where Chris Flexen has been getting bizarrely lucky. I mean, a ton of balls in play, a 6.6% swinging strike rate, and he's worse to right-handed hitters. So I really like this spot for the Jays, and that's it. I mean, Mike Minor is the last guy that I'll have, and I think it's 6-4. Now, again, another situation. He just faced this team, but he actually got touched up a little bit. And tonight, Dylan Carlson, the usual leadoff guy, is out of the lineup, but they are in Kansas City. Wind blowing in the 70s. It's a tough park for home runs. AP will tell you. We play the Royals more, I think, than anybody else. Like the team a lot. But in this spot, I think that Minor is a pretty good play against a St. Louis team that almost is completely out of it by now. And that Mike Schilt is one of the worst managers in Major League Baseball.
Ooh, one of the worst, huh?
He's one of the worst. I don't know if you've watched this team and the way he manages.
I have some friends who are Cardinals fans, JT. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, he's just not a good tactician. He's makes bizarre moves with that bullpen. The way they've managed that roster, some really curious things. He's pinch hitting pitchers in the 6th inning. I mean, just it's kind of bizarre choices there.
So go ahead, DC.
I just want to address a couple of things JT said. Josiah Gray, I think, is kind of purely a GPP option, right? I mean, the Braves have, the 3rd highest total on the slate? I think, tough place to pitch. We know what the Braves offense can do, but, we saw it from Josiah Gray last start and frankly, 2 of his Dodgers starts. This guy just misses so many bats where it's you say, oh, you don't want to face the same team in a row, and I get it, but it's not like Josiah Gray is really fooling people. He's more, if you watch that last start, kind of overpowering people. He's got a super high spin rate fastball that he drills to the top of the zone, and he just gets whiffs on it. He has in almost every outing. You look back at his minor league career, just tons of strikeouts. To me, he looks like one of those pitchers when he's on his game, you might just strike everybody out, So, we don't know what kind of game if he's going to be locating tonight, and I do agree. If facing the second team 2 times in a row is not ideal, but you're going to get Josiah Gray, I think, I would guess sub 5% on the slate for a pitcher with high upside. He's not too expensive. I think the options there. And then, glad to hear you're on board with the Snell call. That change in pitch mix is really, really interesting to us. So we'll see if he can keep up. I mean, sometimes this happens. We've been playing DFS for long enough to know we've noticed, pitch art changes like this before. And then sometimes in the next start, they just go back to their old way of pitching, right? And it's just super frustrating because there's just no way to know what their plan is. Like, it's possible that Blake Snell just didn't have a feel for his curveball or changeup in that game, so he threw more sliders and it worked. But that might not be the plan tonight, and he might go back to his old way of pitching, which hasn't been super successful. So you're just kind of playing the probabilities. But I think Snell, especially with the matchup, just has such a good chance, I think, of being the SP1 if he's as sharp as he was last time. He's going to mow this Diamondbacks team down. So really, really interesting slate. Steve, did you look at Jesus Luzardo at all? 6,700 at home.
That's what I was just about to bring
good
up.
Good matchup. It's so bad this year, but man, the talent is there. And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to play some Luzardo for sure. This is a guy, was excited about coming into the year. He's been awful, but the talent's definitely there. Probably the best or second best pitcher's park on the slate. This Cubs team's got David Bodie hitting third, Frank Schwindel hitting second. No one that really scares you.
I mean, there's just so many strikeouts here.
They've been striking out a ton since the trade deadline. It's a pristine matchup for a guy who we really like the long-term talent on. He's super cheap. Don't think, he's a main team type of guy, but, I'm playing 20. I'm definitely going to have some Luzardo in this spot.
What do you think Luzardo's top 10% upside is? DK
for a score? I think he can give you 20.
Top 10%.
Top 25, 28.
Yeah, 25 would be the number that I think Luzardo's got a chance of reaching against the Cubs. Yep. Yeah,
I mean, this is why this slate's so fun because we've talked about at least 7 guys who I think are all really in play. Luzardo's been up over 80 pitches the last 2 starts, which is encouraging.
And that's he's not pitching well, right? So I think if he's pitching well, they might just let him go.
Yeah. I like him long term too. I've been trying to find a spot to use him. At Coors wasn't it. So
this is the spot, man. If you want to use him, this is the spot.
Yeah. So, we can talk about that price range, right? So he's priced around guys like Molly, like Minor. Who else is, that
I like Luzardo the best among those guys, personally.
I think Minor's the safest.
In tournaments, right? I mean, we're talking tournaments here anyway. So
yeah, so I'm gonna have a bunch of McClanahan. I think I like McClanahan more than Luzardo. I just think he's safer, but he's also 1,000 more. So if we're talking around the 7K range, I think I would go Molly, then Luzardo, then Minor, but I'm gonna have all 3. I don't know. I'm just a huge fan of Molly, and I think that the strikeout upside for him at that price is something that we don't see too often.
Hey, P, what's going on, buddy? Just want to keep you engaged.
I'm taking in all the information and looking at different things. So a lot of good stuff.
What's on your computer right now? What's really on your computer?
Honestly, I'm looking at Mike Minor.
Okay.
Man, there's so many strikeouts in this Cardinals lineup right now.
I was just reading the story where Jim Edmonds is engaged to the woman that he had a 3-way with his wife with, and she's all upset. So that's where I'm going with this. DC and Stevie having a show. Just wanted to give that to you. JT, I knew you'd like that story. That's a big one for you. And he is the worst analyst on television, by the way. I thought FP Santangelo and DC was the worst. Go try and watch.
He can't be worse than FP.
He's worse. I kid you not, man. The guy is just an absolute debacle. Let's get to the offense, though, guys. We got a lot of offense to get to. Steve, you did a little bit of offense. We did game by game, but now that I look at it, we don't have time for that. So it's time to start getting to the stacks, and then we'll get to the one-offs, and then everything will be else. You're welcome, Brian. I appreciate that. All right, AP, who are you looking at stacks-wise? You're digging into Mike Minor. Who's on your list? with the stacks?
Yeah, I mean, one of them, the Brewers, got to keep an eye on the weather here. The last time they were in Pittsburgh, they absolutely smashed. I don't think they scored less than 7 runs. Great matchup against Mitch Keller, and this team's clicking right now. A ton of interest in them. Red Sox, obviously. I mean, man, that team total just went to 7. Really nice matchup against Watkins, and they got Kyle Schwarber back. I mean, how does this guy not hit a home run off his first swing? Man, he's the king of that. Got to think that first game back. My question is, how do you think? What's his ownership going to be tonight? Anyone have a guess on that? First game back, we don't know much about it. I usually like to get on guys like that. Anyone have an opinion?
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say he's not cheap, but go ahead, JT.
No, I think overall on Boston, you're definitely going to pay an ownership tax tonight. Some of their guys are showing anywhere between 23 and 28%. I can't argue the matchup. And as we saw, I think it was last Friday night when it was the Yankees and the Rockies who had the best matchup, and they both smashed. It was someone that won the slate with different pitchers, right? So you got to go away from the Luzardos, maybe even away from a Robbie Ray. And that's why I think looking at some of these other guys is pretty interesting. With the pricing tonight, I think you can fit teams like the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. You can fit teams like the Red Sox and the Astros. So, but Red Sox are going to be, I would say, the highest owned team tonight, and they should be.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a great spot, but when you got as many games as we got, we can find somebody else that has a decent shot of matching them, right?
Also, no JD Martinez in the lineup too, so that's a big hole, and also a big opportunity for a pinch hit spot for guys in the lower half of that lineup, I think.
What are you looking at, AP? What else you got for us offensively?
Yeah, so someone in the chat was saying it was sounding like I was yelling. Made some adjustments. Hopefully it's not as bad. I agree with these guys in the Blue Jays later on. I know that we were talking about that. I was looking at the temperature too. I can't remember who mentioned that. But man, almost 90 degrees up there in Seattle. You rarely ever see that. And, the Blue Jays, what I've learned this season, and I think you guys could all agree, they have a chance of winning a tournament every single night, no matter what the matchup is. I mean, this team has
every single night. Yeah,
every single night. I will – them and the Dodgers, I will never, try to talk someone off of stacking them. Dodgers were another one. After busting last night, I think they're going to be low-owned here. And you got, one guy I really like is Bellinger. He's hitting the ball a lot better, and they got him batting, he's 7th in the order. I think he's going to go lower-owned. I mean, I hope he's lower-owned because I think he gets it done tonight. So I'm looking at the Dodgers. I'm looking at the Blue Jays. I'm also looking at, and it'll be interesting to see what you guys think. I'm looking at the Rays too. They're another team that I just think they have so much power in there. They're another team that can win you a slate on any given night. So and we got Nelly Cruz, a little revenge narrative. If you like that kind of thing against his former team.
Nelly Cruz revenge narrative, if you like that against his former team. JT, who are you stacking tonight? Give us 2 or 3 stacks. Oh, my God. This is, you want to talk about a shit show. What is going on in JT's house? You got to take control of your house, JT. This is not good, buddy. All right, FanDuel stack, Steve. Save us. What do we got, pal?
I'll just talk about overall stacks that I like. I'm with AP on the Rays. I really like the Rays tonight. Getting a discount on a bunch of their big bats. We've seen guys like Brandon Lau, Cruz, Arozareno, and even Wander Franco over 5K for a couple weeks now. They're all under 5K now, going up there against Pineda, who is better against righties, but 3 of the first 5 are either lefties or switch hitters. Really like the top 5 of that lineup. And like JT was talking about, the pitching that we have on the slate, we're not paying up for any 11K guys. So I think that we can really use the stacks that we like. We're not bargain bin hunting for, some shitty, cheap team to play tonight, which is nice. So I'm on the Rays. I'm with everyone on Toronto. I really want as much Toronto as I can get tonight. Like I said earlier, the best team in baseball against right-handed pitching, flexing a pitch to contact guy, 87 degrees. We'll see if the roof is open there. And then, so the last two are, I like Atlanta. So I'm with JT.
Hey, Stevie, real quick. Have you seen the weather too? And it's such good hitting weather up in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I might be with you on that stack. I mean, if you look at the Rays with Lau, I didn't notice how cheap their price tags were.
Yeah.
Man, I am. That is slowly becoming my favorite stack. I might be locked arm in arm with you. On that one.
Love the Rays tonight. So Atlanta, I think, is I don't want to call them sneaky, but I think their team total should be a bit higher. I do like Josiah Gray long term, but this team just got Darno back. It just really lengthens that lineup. DC and I have talked about that a lot on the podcast. When these good to above average offenses get like a key cog back, and it just really extends the lineup. It just makes it so tough to get through a couple times. And like JT was saying, they see him twice or for the second time this week, and really, really want to be attacking the Nats pen from here on out. So I think the Braves will come in pretty low owned here besides Freeman, who's finally under 5K. Really like them as a stack, hoping that the weather holds off. And then the last team that I will mention is Houston. I play a ton of Houston all season. I was hoping that Yuli was going to be back in the lineup tonight. They just put their lineup out, and Yuli's not in there, which is kind of a bummer. But, we get Houston for a little bit cheaper than they should be. Besides Altuve, all these guys are 4,500 or less. Brantley's sitting third at 3,200. Kyle Tucker's under 4K. Probably better as like a secondary stack team, I think. But really like Houston against the lefty in Angels Park that, since they moved those fences in, has really kind of switched to more of a hitter-friendly park than it used to be.
All right, I just got a text from my buddies in DC because they already they're going to start the game in a delay. He just said, I think we're going to be here a long time tonight. So you never know what's going to go on with the Nationals, though. Seriously, it could not be raining and they'll cancel a game. It could be raining and they'll sit there all night. So just so you know, yes, Jeffrey, that's what I said. So it's going to be an interesting situation in DC tonight. DC, let's go. What's the stacks you're on this evening?
Yeah, just real quick, I did see the Braves game is going to start in delay as well.
Wonderful.
Which is interesting because it's not really raining there yet. It's kind of anticipatory, looking at the radar type of delay. I still think it will play. I still think the Nationals game. I still think all three of the games are frankly going to play, but we might have to deal with delays in all three. I'm on the Brewers right now, so it's going to be something to monitor.
What was the other game you just said?
Brewers, Pirates, Braves, Nationals,
right,
and then and
Braves, Nats.
I think the Philly game is the least worrisome of the three, personally.
I agree with that. Yeah. So just a little bit of a weather update there, but we'll see. Expect these games to play. I'll throw in the caveat. If you're playing tournaments, if you're going to one of these risky games, you want a number of players in your lineup from the game, right? Because you're going to get the lower ownership. And if you lose two players from your lineup, you're probably not cashing anyway. And you're certainly not likely to compete for a top spot in a tournament. So if you are going to one of these weather games, go for it and get a number of those players in your lineup and just be willing to accept if it doesn't work out in your way. Move on to the next one, or maybe you got more lineups. Top stacks. The Red Sox have just an enormous total in this one. I think this morning it was 6.6 or so, which was the highest on the slate by far. It's the highest on the slate, but it's all the way up to, I'm seeing 6.9 for the Red Sox and climbing. looks like they may get over 7 against Spencer Watkins, who's not any good. We know, like this guy couldn't grab a rotation spot over guys like Matt Harvey, right? Like he had to come in because they've had some injuries to the rotation the Orioles have. So he's just not really, really just doesn't have a lot of business making major league starts. And the Red Sox got to be looking their chops here to kind of tee off on this guy to get Kyle Schwarber back, who was the hottest hitter in baseball before he tore his hamstring. We'll see where he picks up, but I think he's really interesting at 4,900. So I like the Brewers, the Red Sox, and then the Jays. The Blue Jays. You're gonna get them super, super low owned. We think the roof might be open in Seattle. It's gonna be warmer than it almost ever is there, if that's the case. And like AP said, I mean, this Blue Jays team, any night, any park, any night, any pitcher, it doesn't matter. They have so much upside, so much power in that lineup. And I don't like Chris Flexen. You can make the case maybe he's a little bit underrated, but see a guy that's going to talk you off of a low Blue Jay stack, not for me. So a number of ways to go tonight.
Yeah, like if they go off and you didn't play him, or you're going to say, "Damn, I didn't play him because Chris Flexen was starting." Are you kidding me?
Yeah. The park's a little bit. It's like, yeah. Listen, if George Springer, Semien, Guerrero, Bichette, Teoscar, like when these guys get a hold of one, a little bit of a pitcher's park isn't going to make a difference, and we don't even know if it's going to be a pitcher's park tonight if they open the roof. So don't be scared of it. Take advantage of the ownership, not the low team total for them. It's still the 4th or 5th highest on the slate.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I feel like Toronto has really showed up a couple times this year when they've been low owned in decent spots and failed a bunch of people when they've been in great spots. So yeah, I mean, I love the Blue Jays tonight. I hope we get the lineup somewhere close to lock because I know Dickerson, I think, got hurt yesterday. So, there could be a couple swaps in there.
JT, you got anything back yet, buddy? Can we hear you? No. JT.
Can you hear me?
Take a nap. Yeah, you're on. Go take a nap or go do your lineups. I love you, man, but we can't do it. We just can't do it. The update didn't work.
You're kicking someone off the show. I think that might be a first in RPS.
And the problem is he's the one guy I actually like. We got to let him go. JT, can you do it? Try it.
It's hurtful. Can you hear me?
Well,
Maybe it's just my video.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Seconds later. What do you think?
If you can hear it, yeah. If you can hear me,
we can hear you fine.
Right,
yeah.
Let's do it. Go for it.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I apologize to everybody watching. I had fixed this issue. I've got the Ethernet plugged in, and it does this for me with StreamYard. I don't know why. Maybe I have to update something on my Mac. But anyway, stacks. I am, as you and both DC have mentioned, this Braves game starting in a delay is causing me a bit of concern because of the fact that the Nationals have made some bizarre decisions. They control the delay before the game starts. Major League Baseball controls it afterward. Stevie brings up a good point, though. It's supposed to be raining. These guys have played a bunch of doubleheaders. I think they're probably tired of it by now. So hopefully they will wait for the weather to break and they'll get this game in. My favorite stack is the Jays. I talked about Chris Flexen, as DC mentioned, a bit underrated. He's been really good this year. So, almost surprisingly, except for, people like me who were strange and stayed up at night to play and watch the KBO. But this is a matchup where I think his blow up has been coming for a few starts. He's lived on the edge in a good start against Tampa Bay and then gave up a few bombs against the Yankees. And I think the Jays get to him tonight. I think this is a team that's going to explode here and score a bunch of runs, with Flexen being worse against right-handed batters. I do think the Red Sox are in a great spot. I'm worried as well about the weather in Pittsburgh. Otherwise, I would like Milwaukee a bit. I said I like the Braves for reasons I talked about with respect to – and I agree fully with DC's assessment of Josiah Gray. I think a couple of other things. The Braves got smashed yesterday by the Reds, and I think they come out a little bit more aggressive, right? They maybe swing at those first pitch fastballs and not give Gray a chance to get to his secondary pitches.
They should.
That game
Yeah.
And then outside of that, I do think Houston is in a sneaky good spot against Patrick Sandoval, who has been pretty good this season. But, this Astros team all season long has been much better against left-handed pitching. And I think it's a park upgrade for them coming out of the shithole they play in Houston. And then another under the radar team. I know that Bumgarner did pretty well against the Padres last week, but I like the Padres a little bit here as well tonight in Arizona.
You guys, this time of year, right? So we're getting obviously into kind of the dog days of summer for baseball, as they like to say, and those have a name for a reason, right? Because you get to this point in the year, and some teams, right? What is it? At least 15 teams are just out of the race, and it's not that the players don't have, reason to compete, and obviously they're playing for contracts and their own stats and all that stuff, but like this time of year, and this will shift more and more as we go through the season. I want the teams that are that want and need to win, right? Like the Blue Jays, they need to win. Their hitters, this lineup, they will be locked into their at-bats. Every single one of them, right? The whole lineup is doing their absolute most they can to put together good at-bats, to keep the line moving, to put up a number of runs on the board. The Reds, right? They need to win. They're surging right now. You see that. They have to win every game. So you see locked-in hitters. And I think, as we go along, I want to target the teams that are, at 100% focus and putting up big games night after night. We've seen it a number of times with the Reds and the Blue Jays. So that's just a general thing, right? I'm hesitant to stack the teams that are down and out, right? Like, I don't know. I just don't see – I think you're going to get even a smaller amount of big games out of some of these teams than you might expect.
Okay, guys. So we kind of went through the stacks. We already went through the pitching, and some of you got here late, and I get it. And you can ask us some questions though. So premium chat, of course, your questions come first. We'll get to the guys in YouTube, the non-subscribers. If you are a subscriber and you don't know how to get into the live chat, what have you been waiting for? Make sure you get to the Discord. Okay, go to Discord and go to general chats. Down at the bottom of general chats is live show chat. And then you can just ask, you can ask us questions, and it's pretty simple. So, just like Jay Frey, can I ask DC and Boynton if they have any love for Gomber against the Giants? Boys, Gomber versus the Giants. Either one of you?
Not for me on this slate. Like we've been talking about, there are 8 guys I think that are really, really good plays. I'm just not into attacking the Giants right now. That team has been red hot. We have so many pitchers in good spots. I don't want to take a chance on a guy that I think we all like, but I think that we like him, in certain situations. I'm not going to force in Gomber in a tough matchup on a slate where we just have so many good options that we do want to use.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And this goes back to the previous point I just made. The Giants will put out the very best possible lineup that they can put out tonight to win this game, right? You're not seeing that from necessarily teams that are out of the races like the Indians and the Tigers, right? They're putting out lineups to get their young guys playing time. The Giants will have their best possible lineup out tonight to try to hit Gomber. So these aren't the teams that I want to target. Teams like the Giants who know what they're doing. They've had a good offense. And listen, a lot of respect for Gomber. He's been tremendous, but I'm just not picking on the Giants on this slate.
And by the way, if you guys bet, for the first time this year, the Giants are finally the favorites to win the West. You get the Dodgers at even money at some places, which is absolutely shocking at this point. First of all, that it's taken this long, but second of all, that I get the Dodgers at even money to win the division. I don't like that. What else we got here? Any love for Alonso? Been steaming the ball. Sneaky one off? Question mark from Espo in the premium chat.
Who?
Anyone?
I'm not
Alonso? No?
I'm on the Mets today.
Alonso.
Pete Alonso.
No, I didn't touch on Julio Urias. DC did, and he is a guy that I think I'm going to have a little bit of in my player pool. I don't have any respect for this Mets lineup, to be honest, right now. And now that they just put Javi Baez on the IL, so Baez won't be in the lineup. You'll get Villar hitting from the right side, and I agree 100% with what DC said. I think you can look at this Major League Baseball for the rest of the season as teams that are in playoff contention and teams that are dead, and I think you want to target players from the first group of teams. And the Mets may be in the running this week, but I think for the most part they're a dead team. And I look at, the Dodgers obviously losing Bauer and having Kershaw on the IL and having to have a couple of bullpen games in Philly, guys that pitched okay in terms of Mitch White. And I think that it's a situation where Roberts may need 7 innings out of Urias, and he can actually pay off that price against this Mets team in 7 innings.
All right, real quick, we got Jesse Winker scratched. So those of you with the red stack there, make sure you got no Winker in your lineup. Jesse Winker has been scratched, and that's just that. So we'll do a lot of Schwarber talk today, guys. Give me a Schwarber take today as he comes back. And remember, he's on the Red Sox now, and he's batting 6th.
Yeah, so I think the big thing there is he only needed 1 rehab game. Everything checked out. We're in mid-August. I heard some people talking about, why didn't they have him in the minors for a week or so? The Red Sox need to win these goddamn games. So he played last night. He looked fine, and he's in there. I have no reservations using Schwarber. It seems like they took long enough to make sure that everything was good. He checked out, and it's all systems go for here.
Who is everybody's favorite one-off today? That's from Brian Palinkas. AP will start with you. By the way, I want you to talk about your core too after we get done with this, because your DK core is up. AP's cores are always up before everybody else's. He's very assertive. Who's your favorite one-off?
Here's the thing. For me, it clicked tonight. Just the guys talking about the Rays, and then I went back. This Dodgers team is cheap. And I like the lefties here, and you can play any and all of them. But Will Smith was just staring me in the face. Cody Bellinger's been hitting the ball a lot better, and he's my. If you want a one-off, like if you're not stacking the Dodgers, but you want one guy, I'm going Cody Bellinger, batting 7th, 4,100. I just like how he's swinging things right now, and. Hopefully he's going to be lower owned, batting 7th. I really like everyone else's opinion on that.
G. Risen said Franmil's always a good one-off. Stevie, who's your one-off today?
Well, I wanted to answer AP's question. He asked for our opinions on Cody Bellinger. So
on the Bellinger ownership. I mean, you think more people are looking at that, or it's everything's just going to be spread out? Because there's so many outfield plays.
Certainly, we're going to see spread out ownership tonight. There's no question about that. Just so many good spots to go to. But I do, to your point, I do think you'll see Cody Bellinger very low owned, right? It's been a struggle for him. I know he's been awesome recently. He seems like he's back, right? Like we'll see if he can maintain this. But it's not like the talent left his body. It's not like he's old. He just couldn't get his timing right. He couldn't get over the injury, but now he has. And he's been crushing it. So I like the Bellinger call, and I bet you'll get him sub 5% would be my guess.
And right before this tear that he's been on, he was talking about how he was finally starting to feel right. So, funny that you get that coincidence. He finally starts to feel right for the first time in 18 months and starts to be the player that he was for years before then.
Yep.
Give me that one.
So just my final comments on just that. I think tonight, when you look at pricing, I'm a one lineup. I'm usually like a 3 to 5 lineup type guy. Tonight, I'm a one lineup guy, just single entry hero, as our guy Big T says. I'm full fading Boston. I think it's easy to do. I think there's a lot of underpriced stacks out there. I want the leverage, and you could easily build a full Dodgers and Rays stack. You could easily build a Rays and a Blue Jay stack. I mean, I'll take those guys at lower ownership in just as good of a spot. They could definitely break the slate. So that's where I'm at tonight.
One off. Let's go. Who is it?
I'll pick a guy from Toronto since I think we're all in Toronto. Teoscar Hernandez, real hot bat, probably hitting 4th or 5th. Hit a grand slam the other night. Kind of the guy who goes under the radar the most on that team that I think is just a stud. So I'll give our man the Oscar some love and say that he's my favorite one-off today.
JT, you there, buddy? We got you. Who's your favorite one-off today?
Yeah, I'm here. First of all, I agree with AP on the Dodgers take. Another thing, it's pretty hot and humid in New York as well. I normally hate that part, but last week I targeted a Royals Cardinals game stack because of the heat and humidity there, and it worked out pretty well. It was I think a 7-6 or a 6-5 final. And I think you could see the same thing with most of the runs, almost all the runs coming on the Dodgers side. I agree with you, Ryzen. I think you can make a 2-man stack of Franmil Reyes and Jose Ramirez. Those are two guys who maybe looking at, playing for other teams next year, potentially playing for keeping their stats for the offseason to get paid a little bit more. I think Reyes will be arbitration eligible, so I like that a little bit. And then, I think as far as a one-off, I think you can go to the Jays. I'm not worried about Jays ownership. I think this this Red Sox ownership is going to take a lot of people off of these other higher-priced teams, and I like it. And I think George Springer leading off, he's been absolutely on fire now that he's finally healthy. And I think Springer or Teoscar. Teoscar's a good call too.
Yeah, Springer's just in play every day. I mean, the guy's on fire. You just go through a list of dudes that are on fire right now, and he's right up there. So, DC, did you share your one-off? Did you get to that?
No, I don't think I did.
Let's do it. What's your best one-off tonight? Because our guy in the chat wants to know.
Yeah. So many good options for a one-off tonight. We haven't mentioned the Phillies bats, but Bryce Harper has been insane these last few weeks. Tyler Mahle, good pitcher, but he's taken a big step back since the sticky stuff enforcement. I don't love him against lefties in general, so I'll go Bryce Harper.
Bryce, yeah, and there's, yesterday you just down. He got that early home run against the Doyers, and then it was over. I mean, this guy is just on fire again.
Yep. Down to
guys in the league that could carry a team for a month at a time, and he seems to be one of those.
Down to plus 240 for the MVP for Bryce.
Mick Longrod, any love for the Guardians tonight? Indians. You guys talked a little bit about, especially UJT with Ramirez and Franmil, but is that it for the Tribe tonight? Really?
I think you can do a 3-man. The other guy that I would do there is Ahmed Rosario. If you wanted to go, let's say if you wanted to play Julio Urias, right? He's 9.9 on DraftKings. I think you go Rosario, Franmil, and Ramirez, or you could go two of those guys and the leadoff. Alexander's a guy that faced this team just a week ago too, and he pitched really well. I just don't expect the same outcome, but I want to go back to DC's point here. I've said for about a month now, I have no idea what the Indians were doing. They were well within the playing field of contention here, and they decided to give up on the season. It seems like they did score.
Their owners are cheap.
It was 10 or 12 runs. What's that?
Their owners are cheap asses is the problem.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean we see that in a couple of places here. So, but I think they scored a bunch of runs. I think it was against Baltimore or Detroit earlier this week. So there are some guys in these lineups that are playing for arbitration, playing for statistics, and I think with the Indians you see a little bit of that there. So I would not go full 5, but I think you can mix them in if you're going to stack a Dodgers. I think they'll be low owned. So I think if you do that, mix them with the Dodgers, the Jays, maybe the Astros, something like that. One other point I'll bring up, because DC just mentioned it, and I realized it was something I looked at earlier in the day. Tyler Mahle just absolutely dominated in his last start, and he had been terrible. And the chances, it's weird with a guy that comes off of an almost 3K price drop, but the chances that he actually dominates again are very, very low here. So I think that call on some of these Phillies bats is not a bad one either.
Okay, a couple things here to let you know. First of all, like button would be nice. If you hit that, I just remembered to hit it myself. We're only at 160. We're going to end up with about 1,300 watching. So it'd be nice if you said, hey, guys, thanks for all this great stuff you give us for free. We appreciate that. Hit the like button. Pretty simple. The other thing is I don't know what you're waiting for to sign up for Rumpier Sports. Maybe you're waiting for the NFL season. Maybe you're just never going to do so. But we're running a hell of a promo right now. RPS NFL 15. RPS NFL 15. 15% off the lifetime of your subscription. Lifetime of your subscription. You could also use it on the bet side. RPS NFL 15. You'll get 15% off over there. If you're already a subscriber, use the code GetBets. You'll get the bets and the sports side. And Stevie, you and I are on the bet side all the time. Absolutely spectacular work those guys do. Joey Work, JJ, Spread, Tyler,
Keg.
all those guys. Keg, they all do a wonderful job with football season coming up. Especially, I mean, Keg just kills it, especially live betting. AP, what else we got? We got shows Monday through Friday coming up. We got the Wood Show on Sunday with Hoop and Big T. We got JSU up to lock. Tell me about all the other stuff we got going on for NFL. That's right, Daniel Grover. You are signing up for NFL. RPS NFL 15. Every day we get at least one of these guys signing up. I love it. What's up, AP?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I mean, our guy Big T, he's on this heater that never stops. So I'm going to ride his course into NFL season. I mean, this dude's on fire. Every sport, I'm just, I'm literally the most stubborn guy in here. I guarantee it. Like, I will only usually play my core, but I'm just playing everyone's because, Tony's been on fire. But honestly, the other night when I had the 100K sweat, that was partly due to DC's core. So shout out to DC. I'm just, always trying to play all the guys' cores on here. So with NFL, though, I mean, we got articles coming out every day. We got videos every day. We're adding in a few new shows. We got Toe Tag and Tambo joining the team. He's going to be on the shows for NFL, and I like where we're positioned. I think it's going to be a very big year.
I like it. Beautiful. RPS NFL 15. We got a few extra minutes here to take some questions too, guys. So we're more than happy to do so. Someone trying to talk? Is that you, Steve? Are you watching videos again? Steve, come on, you got to focus, man.
My mic is muted when I'm not talking.
Thank you. So, anyways, Gritchick birthday dong. Thank you, D Fresh. And the premium chat, you get all these interesting things too. Come on. Are you scared of using Morton with the delay? Izzy wants to know, DC, if there's any.
I think
update.
the delay helps him.
Yeah.
Because there's less chance of an in-game storm, I think. If they delay and play. So what I was saying in the chat is it's supposed to pour all day tomorrow in DC. So I think that might help them try to jam this game in, along with what JT was talking about. They've already played 2 or 3 doubleheaders in the last week. So, I'm going to play Morton. I'm going to play some Braves.
Yeah. So
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, don't mean to cut you off, Steve. I'm monitoring the weather closely right now. My main team is the Brewers, who this Pittsburgh game will start in delay. I don't know if that's been announced yet, but just looking at the radar, it will. I think it will clear and they can play. I think the same thing about the Braves game. It's a tough call, what we have 20 minutes before lock here. We're not really going to have that much more information when lock hits because these storms are coming now, right? Like the Braves and Nationals are in delay. The Pirates and Brewers will start in delay, and it does seem like they will clear, but it's risky, of course. It always is when you get a game starting in delay. So I think I am going, as of right now, I reserve the right to change my mind until the last second, but I do plan on sticking with the Brewers. They're my favorite, and I think you'll get them lower owned. For sure, you'll get them lower owned when this game is announced that it's starting in delay. And if I'm doing that, I kind of feel like I might as well stick with Charlie Morton too, right? And just kind of roll the East Coast risky weather games. And listen, on a 14-game slate, there's plenty of places to go, right? If you don't want to risk it, that's totally a reasonable approach. But we're trying to get first place out of what? I mean, depending on what you're playing in tournaments, out of 100 teams or 500 teams or 40,000 teams. So as long as you're willing to accept that risk, I don't mind sticking with some of these games.
Okay. NY Jets. You guys like any O's bats tonight? They're so cheap.
I don't think we need it. We were talking earlier how we think a bunch of these pitcher options are a little cheaper than they should be. We're not paying up for any 10-5 or 11K pitchers here. So I think on a different slate, because it's a decent spot. But I just don't think that we need to go down to a team like that when we do like a bunch of these good offenses in good spots, along with the pitchers that kind of line up who are a bit underpriced.
Premium chat, I just threw the JSU's DK core in there. Just threw his DK core in there. And no surprise, he has a giant in his. I think he has to have a San Francisco Giant in every single one of his lineups, or it's not going to be a complete lineup. But again, this is an offense that just continues to rake. So why are we going away from him? Let's see here. I didn't see any of the other stuff. What was that damn question? Any love for the A's? There it is. C-Wags. Hey, AP, what do you think about the A's tonight?
They're a team I kind of overlooked, mainly because of the ballpark they're playing in. I believe, honestly, like that game yesterday, they kept scoring, and the guys, I was on Mitch Moreland. I believe he was in my core, so he hit 2 home runs. I have no problem with it. I think they have plenty of power. So if you want to stick with the A's, I'd stick with them. I'm only building one lineup, so just to be transparent, I'm not on them. I have no problem with them, though. The only issue I might have is just, they're playing in a park. I don't really like to attack, teams playing in that park.
Okay. Anybody on the A's, or are we just moving on right now?
I'm not.
Not today. I don't like the park, and we just like all the other spots better, I think.
Okay. Stan 0302. I got a Tampa Bay Boston stack. Would you rather have Kike or Brandon Lau at second base?
Lau.
DC, JT, AP. Any thoughts on that one?
I lean Lau as well.
Lau as well. Okay. Barks. Hey guys, DraftKings, $3,800 or less at second base. $3,800 or less at second base is what he has to spend. Who is the play for him? Tommy Edman, maybe?
Yeah, Edman's good.
3.8. It's kind of tough, isn't it, DC? It's a tough price range there because you're like 100 off for some really good players. There's Toro in there. Toro? Is Toro even viable anymore? What's with Toro?
I don't love it against Robbie Ray, but yeah, he's absolutely viable going forward.
I think you could play guys like Jace Peterson, Adam Frazier at 3.8. Frazier's been good.
Votto, question mark. I mean, Votto's always in play, isn't he? Right now, he's just on fire.
100%.
Yeah. I don't know why you would fade a guy on fire. Go for it, dude. Back to the pitching. It's been a while. Otter's on the over. What up, Otters? McClanahan. Decent play? Question mark.
Yeah, Steve likes him. Yeah, he's good.
I think so. I'm gonna have like 40% McClanahan today, I think, in my 20 lineups.
Is Polanco worth a one-off, or do we not play him against lefties? Interesting question.
He's 3,100 for Jorge Polanco is ridiculous right now with how high he is. So yeah, absolutely in play.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Who should be your pitcher on FanDuel? That's from the free chat, and that's Anthony. Anthony, you better hit the like button. We're answering your question, buddy.
I think there are some cheap options on FanDuel that are interesting. Luzardo is 6.5 there. I usually pay up at pitcher on FanDuel. I would go Ray, Morton, Snell, McClanahan. I would be living in that range.
Okay. DC, JW wants to know your thoughts on Jack Flaherty.
Nah, he hasn't pitched in 3 months, 3 months. Not today.
Brad wants to know about DeSclafani's pitch count, whether or not you guys would be concerned about it.
I'm very concerned. Shoulder injury, I don't think there's any need to risk it with a guy like him or Flaherty on a slate where we just like all these other guys. You got Flaherty coming off the long-term injury, and DeSclafani, it seems like he came back pretty quick from his shoulder tweak. Looks like he's probably just trying to pitch through something, you would think, just because they're in the race.
Oh, JT just took off. How long's JT been gone for? I didn't even see the screen. Poor guy. He was so excited to do the show today, and then it just went to hell because of technology. So things happen, JT. Miss you, buddy. Guys, Adrian Hunt in the chat. Padres love against Bumgarner. Isn't there better places to go and better atmospheres to play in than the Padres against Bumgarner tonight? Especially still no Tatis, although he could be back this weekend.
Bumgarner's looked pretty solid these last couple starts, so I'm not picking on him right now.
Okay. Kyle Sexton, best 2 GPP DK pitchers, and give me a stat. What do you, Kyle? You want a whole lineup here? You want cores? Come on, man.
Yeah,
you want a stat? If you've been
cores are up on the site.
Yeah, cores are on the site. If you're not a member, RPS NFL 15. Best 2 GPP pitchers. All right, guys. Give one. Each of you give one out. Again, best GPP pitcher on DK. Start with you, AP. You haven't talked in a while. I miss you too. Talk to me. What do you got? Best pitcher tonight?
Yeah, mine's going to be the guy in my core. I'm going with Mike Minor. I was kind of between him and Luzardo, spending down at pitching. Honestly, I like the comments from the show tonight. Just like this Cardinal team. Like, my only concern is Minor just faced him, but we get a big ballpark. We get a lot of strikeouts in this lineup. And 6.4, I think Minor can get us, 18 plus, and that's kind of what I want from him. I think my bats are going to get it done.
Okay. Need a cheap one-off catcher, boys. Do you got anything? Actually, you know what? The rest of you had to do pitching. DC, real quick. Number 1 pitcher on DK GPP.
Good memory, Holden. Great job. Blake Snell is my number 1 guy, and I did just make a change to my cores on the playbook, which is where my DraftKings cores are, so I'll announce that. I'm moving off of Morton. I'm too worried about this weather in Washington, D.C., and they just have such a history of
Where'd he go?
You shitting me?
Oh man!
Oh, no.
So he was moving off. He was moving off who?
That is amazing.
Charlie Morton.
Yeah,
amazing.
he's concerned about the weather in Baltimore. I think. Yeah,
I think he's on. I think he moved to Blake Snell is going to be my guess, because that's who's in his core.
Yeah, that's who's in his core now. Yeah, let me go check it out here.
Yeah,
just to make sure.
I swear, guys, I'm not booting these guys off. I mean, I can put people in timeout, but it's not me. I promise you that.
Yeah, I'm pretty
he didn't
sure
talk about any Royals.
Okay.
They were off.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he just was done with it. Maybe he just didn't want to do it anymore. Maybe he was feeling sick from his COVID shot yesterday. Who knows? A lot could be going on with DC. You're right, Lawrence. Friday the 13th in full effect. Hey guys, in the premium chat, I just pasted Big T's DK GPP in there. What's so funny, AP?
No, just laughing at the chat, just people.
I mean,
producer AP having a tough time.
No. Did you kick him out because he didn't like Morton? Is that the reason?
Oh, he's back. Here we go.
There he is. Did AP kick you out, or did you both?
No. I don't actually think I've ever done this before, but trying to keep track of the weather everywhere and all this news and everything.
Oh, I've got
a million tabs open, and what I did was I X'd out of the StreamYard tab. So I
did that to Keg.
I did that to our guy Spread. Yeah, I did that to Spread.
I did that to Keg like 2 weeks ago.
Hey, Giants lineup is out. For those of you playing the Giants tonight, it's out early too. Slater, Bryant, Posey, Ruff. Ooh, Darren Ruff's in there. Ruff and Flores. Oh boy. Solano, Yastrzemski, and Tyro Estrada.
You still don't have a damn Toronto lineup.
That's what you're waiting for. That's killing you, isn't it?
Yeah, because I assume Dickerson's out. He had the back injury, but I want to see if Bichette is playing. He was supposed to come back like Tuesday. Still isn't back.
God, how do we not play these two the Ruff and the Flores in the San Francisco lineup? Just lefty matchers. Is it just?
I would say because it's the worst hitting environment on a 14-game slate.
The worst? There's no worse hitting environment than
at Oracle. Probably
at Oracle.
Maybe Texas.
You know what the amazing thing though is? Here, I think somebody put it in. Here's JSU's FanDuel core, JSU and Big T FanDuel core in the premium chat. I mean, they put up 5-6 runs every night at Oracle.
No, I mean, I I play a bunch of Giants, so I'm not going to talk anyone off of Giants personally.
Okay, very good. Any other questions is what I want to get to here in the premium. Oh, that's it. We just posted all the damn things. So some people like Zanino. Cheapest catcher on the board tonight, guys. Who's the cheapest catcher you went to?
I'm probably playing a bunch of catchers
so-
within my stacks personally.
Yeah, I'm not spinning down
Actually-
catchers today. I think we have a ton of viable options. I mean, man, you could make a case for so many of these guys. I mean, Will Smith batting third, 4.3K. You're rarely going to get him at that cheap of a price tag. So, yeah, I'm
You're
just
loving these Dodgers, AP. I like it.
Love them.
I am. I really am. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if I still am later tonight. But
Yeah, right?
right now, I definitely like them.
Yeah.
Okay. You like them. We've got favorite 3 first basemen on DK tonight. Position looks super weak. That's NY Jet saying that. Favorite 3 first basemen on DraftKings. I mean, doesn't
necessarily
Vladdy
call
have
it
to
a
start?
weak position myself.
First base. I don't think it's very weak.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
between Vladdy,
Freeman.
Ohtani, Muncy, there's a lot of guys. Even Dalbec. Dalbec's definitely in play tonight, isn't he? At 3-3 on DK?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They have a 7-team total. I think anyone on that team is
Yeah.
in play for sure.
Yeah, I don't agree with you being weak tonight, NY Jets. I mean, Pete
Yeah.
Alonso's in there. We talked about Alonso. Votto's there.
Vlad, Freeman.
Yeah. Or play whoever's in your stack, the first baseman in your stack.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as easy as that. Also, is anyone like a sneaky Detroit stack against Plesac, who's been awful?
Not today. Detroit, I've been using them a bunch against lefties, but they just haven't hit righties in a long time. One of the teams, one of those teams that are kind of middling that you use in certain spots, and I'm only using them against lefties right now.
Okay. Cahill 10 had a question here, and that was, I'm struggling for value. Gurriel instead of Vlad at first with a Tampa Bay Toronto stack. Is that fine, or do I need to find value elsewhere? So he's going with a Tampa Bay Toronto game stack, and he wants to throw Gurriel in there instead of Vlad. I'm thinking it's Lourdes, right?
Well,
Yeah.
Yuli's not in the lineup, so it better
It's got to be
be.
Lourdes. Yeah. So what do you think about that? That's different.
I think it's okay, but the Blue Jays are going to be low owned, right? So you don't need to get the worst Blue Jays to get away from the ownership of it. So if I'm stacking the Blue Jays, I want the big dogs, and Vladimir Guerrero obviously leads the way there.
Steve Anthony, thoughts on Wilmer Flores, 3-5 against Gomber? He's always in the mix against the lefty for me.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Never any issue using Wilmer against a lefty.
And Darren Ruff too, right? For that matter.
Yeah.
Kinda
I think
both
Ruff is
sides.
pretty cheap today, too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Kiermaier, too cheap on FanDuel. Travis Duarte. Agree or disagree with him on him?
Kiermaier's always cheap because he's not that good.
So we just had a question. AP, we never really got into your core on DK. Can you just talk about it real quick? You got Minor Smith.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Minor Smith. The Dodgers are Muncy and Seager. And then Lau, Arozarena, and Cruz. So little Tampa Bay Dodgers mix. That's what you've been talking
I'm
about.
gonna cut you off real quick, Holden. We just got the Toronto lineup. Bo is
there we go.
in. It's Springer, Semien, Guerrero, Bichette, Teoscar, Gurriel, Kirk, Grichuk, Espinal.
Normal, except Grichuk's sitting 8th now.
Yeah.
Boy. So that Gurriel thing, he's sitting 6th.
Yeah, not bad.
And they're moving him up a little bit, 1 or 2 spots. So that's not bad. All right. AP, your core. Talk about it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, this Dodgers team, anytime I can get them low owned, especially right now, they should be plenty motivated to keep mowing over teams. Corey Seager, 2% ownership projection. Bellinger, 2%. I mean, all these guys are going to be extremely low owned. And then the Rays are projected to get a little bit more ownership, but it's substantially less than the Red Sox. And so my strategy is I have a ton of hitters that I think are just as good or better than this Red Sox lineup, and I'm fully getting my leverage off of them. So full Boston fade is my strategy, and my one main team, single entry. hero type of squad, and I'm going, Rays and Dodgers. Pretty simple.
AP, I gotta ask you a question. Do I officially have permission to join you on the Cody Bellinger train? I think he's going in my main lineup.
Yeah, everyone get aboard. I feel very good about it. I watched that game too. My brother-in-law's in town. He's, they're from LA, huge Dodgers fan, so we've been watching him all week. And so I've been seeing him. He just swing looks good. He looks good.
He looks good. I'm jumping on board. Cody Bellinger going in DC.
Hop on board.
Yeah, I love that call.
Yep, he'll go 1 for 4. He'll hit you a home run tonight, and that's all we need. Especially
Plenty of points.
That'll work.
At that price. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he's on fire. He's picking it. A little disappointing yesterday, but it was one game. Okay, don't see draft cheats core. You want to just tell me your core?
It's on the playbook.
On the playbook, yeah, but he said it's not complete. I don't know what that means. I'm not looking at the playbook.
It is now. I can read it off. No problem.
Yeah, read it off real quick.
So I switched from still going with Snell, who I've been on pretty much this whole show at this point. I switched out Charlie Morton to worry about the weather. I put in Jesus Luzardo. Going to go cheap there, take the risk with the upside against that horrible Cubs lineup. Going with the 5-man Brewers, so Escobar, Wong, Jace Peterson, Omar Narvaez, and Willie Adames. So yeah, you're right. I did have one person missing from the core, and then a couple of one-offs that I like. The aforementioned Cody Bellinger, and then I don't think we've said his name yet, but Tyler O'Neill against Mike Minor, getting clean up for 3,400. Big upside there.
Yeah, there's another guy, one-off with tons of power.
Yep.
Izzy says we're still not at 200 likes. That's kind of sad. What is the RPS word? Hurtful. I prefer to say you're hurting my feelings. You're hurting my feelings. You don't want to see me cry right now. That'd be so sad. Who's hitting a bomb tonight, Stevie? Somebody wants to know. Who's hitting a bomb tonight?
Teoscar Hernandez.
That's it.
What, 4th, 5th? Yeah.
Okay. That's not bad at all. I don't mind that. Yeah, you guys got a free core today. Izzy, we gave him a free core, buddy. We gave him a free core. Yeah, it's Friday. Everybody's got their stuff ready to go. We're all good. If they don't, they don't. If they do, they do. We'll be happy no matter what. You guys playing any later slates tonight, or are you just playing the main slate?
Going straight from here to happy hour, so I'll definitely fire with the later slates.
Well, what's the core and what's the team in the later slates? Then I like to play the late night slate.
Toronto and Houston, probably.
Yeah.
Houston.
I'll probably want Toronto, Houston, Snell, Ray, if I can find a way to jam that in.
Upside down, man.
We got our guy Gary doing the Showdown playbook tonight too. So he always does a fantastic job. Very detailed, knows baseball very well. So if you're a member, make sure to dive in there. If you're having a few drinks tonight, get in there, and cores will be up. And
wasn't Gary a subscriber? Money. Wasn't he just?
Yeah.
This is the other thing about RPS, guys. Like, if you're really, really, really good at what you do, and you're in our Discord and you're a member, you might get hired. I'm serious. There's a lot of turnover in the business. We're always looking for sharp minds, and Gary's one of those guys. He was in the Discord. He was saying, and then he got it. Maybe Stevie was too. Stevie, were you like that too? Were you in the Discord for a while?
No, I responded to like a tweet about college basketball, and then hopped on a call with AP and Hoop and Big T.
Good for you. Bogarts, Arozarena, or Franco and Kike from Stan in the Primo chat. Bogarts, Arozarena, Franco, Kike.
I want the first one there.
Yeah, absolutely.
First one for me.
Guys, cheap shortstop on DK. This will probably be our last question we get to. I don't know what cheap is. Is DD in play? Is Hoy Park in play? Who's in play?
For a cheap guy, I've been playing some Hoy Park. Why not?
You love the Hoy Park. You can't get enough of this dude.
He's been good. He's cheap. He's leading off.
Yep.
You're looking for a punt. You could
do a lot worse than that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I like it. All right, we're just about locked. Want to remind everybody, RPS NFL 15, 15% off the lifetime of your subscription at Run Pure Sports, runpuresports.com. Use it on the bet side too, runpurebets.com. And we can get you in on there. We got the NFL starting up, and we got a ridiculously talented team. Every single sport talented, but really football. I could not be more excited to be with the guys that we got here. Is Milwaukee playing? Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen them get canceled yet, OG.
No, I thought the game was going to start delayed. They're going to. Looks like
You said they're going to start in a delay, right?
but they're not, or at least the game starts now.
right.
Which makes me think they can play the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. There's your answer, OG. All right, we got preseason football on. Got my preseason DFS. Let's get going. Last night was awesome. We really didn't have a chance to talk about that amazing game too, but I can't wait till they go back and do that. Wasn't that,
was
near
so much
you, AP? Wasn't that near you? Like there's cornfield, right?
Oh, I don't know exactly where I was at. I bet Stevie Boyton knows.
It was up near the Quad Cities, I think.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
that 8 hours.
That was sweet. Everything about that game was like flawless from start to finish.
Great game, and helped our guy Big T win what 110,000.
What?
Yeah.
He won again?
Again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, again.
Oh my God! You got to be kidding me! He won another 100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the Tim Anderson walk-off.
We had a member. He just passed a member too when Aaron Judge hit that home
He's buying
run.
me a 555. That's gonna be great. Okay, guys. Wonderful to see you today. It was great. Sign up. What do we got coming up this weekend? We got UFC stuff. Is that this weekend? No.
No pay-per-view tomorrow. So
all right, no pay-per-view tomorrow. So we're off from that. Sunday morning, me, G Rise, and JT will have our Up to Lock baseball show. So an hour before lock every Sunday, we'll do that too. All right, boys. Brewers all sub 5%. So that's good for you. Whoever you had the Brewers today. For AP, JT, and Stevie Boyton and DC, I'm holding. AP, hit the bye-bye.